Have you ever felt, well, kind of stuck? Like your life is just on this track that you never really chose for yourself? Today, we are going to break down a really powerful structured method designed to help you grab the steering wheel and actually change your destination. And you can do it all in just 4 hours. So let's get right into it.
I mean, it's the ultimate question, right? We all have this feeling that our life is heading in a certain direction. But what if you don't like where it's going? This isn't about just wishing for things to be different or making some vague New Year's resolution. No, this is about making a single, high-quality decision that literally creates a fork in the road.
You know, this idea of taking dedicated time to just think isn't new. Bill Gates is famous for his Think Weeks. Twice a year, he goes off to a cabin by himself for a whole week just to read and think. He actually credits this one practice for some of Microsoft's biggest breakthroughs. It's just proof that stepping away to get some perspective is incredibly powerful.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. A private chef, a secluded cabin, that's just not going to happen for most of us, right? We've got jobs, we've got families, we have a never-ending list of things to do. So the question is, how do we get those amazing benefits of focused thinking time without having to, disappear for 7 days?
And that is where the Think Day comes in. Think of it as the super condensed, accessible version. All you need is 4 hours, carved out of your regular routine. And this part is really important. You gotta do it in a new environment. Get out of your house, go to a coffee shop, a library, a park. Just getting out of your usual space helps you break your old patterns of thinking. This is all about creating a deliberate pocket of time to make one decision that could change everything.
All right, so how does this 4-hour session actually play out? Well, it kicks off with part 1, your life audit. Because look, before you can chart a new course, you need a brutally honest map of where you are right now. The very first step is a diagnosis. We're going to use a really simple but profound tool to get a 30,000-foot view of your entire life. It'll help us see which areas are really working for you and which ones, well, need some attention. So the tool we use for this is called the Wheel of Life. It's genius. It breaks your life down into 10 key areas, everything from your physical and mental health to your mission in life, money, relationships, and even just pure joy. The exercise couldn't be simpler. For each one of these slices, you're going to rate your satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 10. A 1 is this could not possibly be worse, and a 10 is this is absolutely perfect. And you have to be honest with yourself here. No one's looking. Now, what's so cool about this is seeing a real-world example. These are the actual scores from YouTuber Ali Abdaal. You can see right away he's scoring pretty high in things like his mission and money. But look at the lower scores for physical health, friends, and joy. Just doing this one little exercise immediately flags the exact areas where a big decision could have the biggest impact. Okay, so your Wheel of Life has shown you where you need to focus. Now for the next big question. What's stopping you from making a change? And that brings us to part 2, where we have to confront the single biggest thing that holds pretty much everyone back. It's fear. Simple as that. Specifically, it's the fear of failure. You know, our brains have been hardwired for thousands of years to avoid failure, because back in the day, failure often meant, well, death. That ancient programming is still running in the background, and it's what makes us terrified to quit that job, or start that business, or end that relationship, even when we know deep down it's the right thing to do. So how in the world do you bypass that ancient programming? You ask yourself this one simple question. This might be the single most powerful journaling prompt in existence. It just cuts through all the noise, all the what-ifs, all the excuses, and it gets right to the core of what you truly, deeply want. And that first answer that just pops into your head, pay attention to that one. That's the real stuff. Now, answering that question is going to reveal what you want, but the fear is probably still going to be there, right? That's where author Tim Ferriss's fear-setting exercise is so brilliant. Instead of letting fear be this vague, dark monster hiding in the back of your mind, you literally drag it out into the light. You write down the absolute, hands-down, worst-case scenario. And what you'll find almost every time is that what feels like a life-ending catastrophe is almost always temporary, it's repairable, and it's way less scary once you see it written down on paper.
Okay, we've stared fear right in the face. Now we can move on to part 3. Here, we're going to use a few more really targeted questions to get crystal clear on the direction you want to head in.
This question is a classic for a reason. It's so powerful because it temporarily removes the biggest practical roadblock most of us have: money. If you didn't have to worry about a paycheck, what would you actually do with your time? What problems would you want to solve? This question is all about uncovering what really, truly motivates you.
This one is a bit of a reality check. It forces you to project your current habits, your current routines, way out into the future. Seriously, just look at your last 7 days. If you just copy and paste that week over and over for a decade, do you like where you end up? If the answer is no, well, then you know a change isn't just a want, it's a need.
I absolutely love this metaphor. We all carry around these invisible backpacks, and they're filled with old beliefs or past identities or maybe grudges that were useful at one point, but now they're just dead weight. So ask yourself, what are you lugging around that you could just decide to put down right now, today?
So all this reflection, it's fantastic, but it is completely useless if it just stays in your journal. Part 4 is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we bridge that huge gap between thinking about something and actually doing something about it.
Here's a really powerful way to make a change stick. You document it, just like this. Before today, I was unsure about X. And then, as of today, I have decided to do Y. It sounds simple, but the act of writing that down creates this clear dividing line in your mind. It's like drawing a line in the sand. It marks the exact moment you went from indecision to commitment.
And to make it totally real, you've got to follow these 3 steps. After you write your as of today statement, immediately list the first 1 to 3 concrete action items. What's the very next thing you can do? Then, and this part is absolutely non-negotiable, you have to schedule a review date in your calendar for 1 week from now. This creates accountability. It stops that initial burst of momentum from just fading away.
So after this whole 4-hour journey, auditing your life, confronting fear, and planning your next move, what's the single most important thing to remember? It really all boils down to one simple, incredibly powerful truth. That's it. That's the secret. You don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need 1,000 new tiny habits. You need one. One clear, committed, high-quality decision that sets your life on a new, better course. Everything else flows from that one single point of change.
And so that leaves us with this final question for you. Based on everything we've just talked about, from your wheel of life to your biggest fears, what is the one decision you can make today that will fundamentally change your tomorrow? The power isn't in just thinking about it, it's in the act of deciding.